Hello everyone, I am Dam Leslie and I welcome you to this session. We'll be looking at the Cartescolaire platform and specifically the academic system module of the Cartescolaire platform. This application helps us collect data about students' academic record from schools and upload into the platform for viewing across the different levels of the education system in the country. And we'll start specifically by how to gain access to this platform. You go to the address bar of your web browser and you key in Cartescolaire.cm and you hit enter. This application has two domain names. One is in English and one is in French, and the English domains are available via schoolmap.cm. So for the purpose of this exercise, we'll be using the English domain name. So I'll go to schoolmap.cm. It's the same application as well. Now, here you have to enter username and password. How do you get your username and password? The access to this platform is very restricted, only for authorized personnel. Therefore, you are going to receive your username and password via a dedicated means of communication. You enter the username that was given to you here and the password. Every school has a unique username and password that gives them access to this platform. Then you hit on the login. I would like to remind that the reset the forgot password action is disabled on this system. This is to prevent unauthorized persons from having illegal access to the platform. Just in case you forget your password, we have escalation methods that you can use, and you send feedback to your appropriate authority, and we're going to send you your password via a secure channel. Okay, so for the purpose of this exercise, we'll be working with GBHS Moliko Boya. And when you log into the platform, this is the first page that you see. This is the home page. This is the dashboard. Now, these accounts are expected to be managed by the IT pilots of each public school. The IT pilot here represents most likely the IT instructor in that school, or the IT personnel in the school. Now, the first step that we need to do in terms of action is configurations. As you can see on the sidebar here, it's classified. We start with configuration, followed by uploading data, then results. Now, if you look around the dashboard, what you have students enrolled 0, female 0, male 0, classes 0. Because we've not yet done any configuration, we've not yet loaded any data. So I go to configurations and I start. We are going to work in this order from specialties, classes, subject groups, and subjects. So I start with specialties. Just to show you around the application, up here we have the name of the school. Here we have the academic here. This is because the application runs every year, and you can always go back to the previous year to check the data about students and the previous years actually. Now, here on the user icon, you have the school name, you have the language, because it's a multilingual application. You can switch to French if you're French. If French is your preferred language, then you have account settings and then log out. So now we're on specialties. Remember, I said we start with configurations. Now we go to specialties, and this is where it brings us. The purpose of configuring specialties is to let the system know what sections are done in this school. This is because at the level of the Ministry of Minesec, given that GBHS Moliko Boya is a bilingual school, they should have the following sections: general, arts, science, and for the francophone subsystem they should have general, allemand, Arab, Italian, Espanol, and so on. But we know that not all schools do all of these sections that should apply of schools of that type. Therefore, here you have to select the sections that are applicable to that school environment only. So for the purpose of this exercise, I'll maintain general Anglo, and for general Franco, I'm just going to remove some of these specialties. Okay, and now I click on configure section. Now look at what happens on the right side. Here we have everything active, all the specialties. But since I've deactivated some, I've deactivated those that have not been done in the school. Therefore, now we see them here as inactive. So notice the change. So before going to configure, what do we have next? Classes. Before going to configure classes, you need to make sure that the specialties are as they have been done in the school. And this information is given to you by the IIT pilot of the school. Now we go next to classes. We simply click on classes. At this level, we are supposed to configure all the classes that exist in the school environment. This is because different schools have different classes. I will explain. In GBHS Moliko Boya, we could have from 1A, from 1B, from 1C, and maybe in GBHS, I don't know, let's say for example Limbe, we will only have from 1A and B, no C. So here we are entering the data about classes into the system for every school. So now that you have access to a particular school, you are configuring the classes for that school. And how is this done? We start by selecting the subsection. Remember when we went to specialties fell under subsections. We start with general Anglo, that has 3 specialties. So when you select this, you are going to see a drop down with the 3 specialties for this subsection. If you select general Franco here, we are going to see specialties that fall under general Franco, but are according to the way that we activated and deactivated them when we were configuring specialties. So the specialty exercise is very important. It's the first step to configuring any data on this platform. So now we go back to general Anglo and we select a specialty, for example like general. Then we select a main class from 1, and here we enter a short class, and I would like to call it from 1A, and the class short form, simply call it 1A. Then I click on add class. Notice that the table says no data is available. Now that we are releasing a class, we expect that the data about this class should be presented to come into this table. So if we look carefully, now we have a new record that is showing in the table, right? So now this is the very step that we take to register all the classes that are in the school. We follow the same procedure: general Anglo. We come to specialties, we take general, and we come to main class. Here we select from 1 to 2, then here we enter from 1B, and the short code will be 1B, and click on add class. I also want you to notice how the main classes is a drop down select. This means that the system proposes the classes that are done under that specialty for that subsection. You just have to enter the subclass information. Now in case there is no subclass, in case you have only 1 from 1, the only thing you enter is from 1 in this subclass, and the class short form you see enter, you can enter F1 and you hit on add class. So now let's record from 2. I would like us to record like from 1 to opposite a typical school environment, right? Now I'll assume that for the purpose of this exercise, I'll assume that we have only from 1 A and B, then we have from 2 no A and B. So here I just enter from 2 again, and here I enter F2 and I hit add class. Okay. And I am going to do the same for Form 3 as well. Therefore, for a bilingual school, if this exercise is properly conducted, you should have a table with a very long list of all the classes in the school, beginning from Form 1 of the English section, right up to opposite, and then from CZM of the French section right to terminal. The system gives you the ability to edit class information after it is already recorded, and the data that is available on this table can be exported to these different formats, CSV, Excel, and PDF, for further exploitation. So let's say we want to edit this entry to be from 2A. We click on edit, you select the main class, then here we just enter A and F to A. Okay, but I don't want to edit the class data. So now I want to enter from 4. I want to register from 4 class. Come here, I select from 4. I select general. Then I select the main class here to be from 4. Sorry about that. From 4, and the subclass. Since there is no subclass, we have just one main class from 4, and the short form is F4. F4. Now the short form, the class short form, it is the format of the short form is not standard. Every school is going to enter the class short form in a way that they understand best. This is to easily identify classes. It's why in the case of technical schools, for example, where they have like plumbing, they have electricity, they have mechanics, they have short forms that are going to use to attribute different classes. Now I would like to register from 5, and it's under general. Let me see. I think there is from 5, like from 5 science. Let me see science. Okay, that's for high school. So I'm going to take from 5, yeah, general, and then I'm going to have 2 from 5s. Yeah, I'm going to configure from 5 science. From 5 science, F5, F5S, and then I'll configure from 5 arts later. So I'll do the same for arts. Enter from 5 arts. I have F5A. So now we have successfully configured all the classes in the first cycle of GBHS molecule. So this is we are using this as our sample school structure for the first cycle of GBHS molecule. Now we are going to configure for the second cycle. Now we still select general Anglo. Here we are going to select science, let's select arts first. We select arts, and we are going to configure, in this case, lower seat arts. We have lower seat arts, short code LSA. Then next we configure upper seat arts with the short code USA. This is an exercise that needs to be done carefully with a lot of patience, so that the system can get accurate data about specialties, classes, subjects, and students as well. Let me configure upper seat arts. See here, enter. Upper seat arts. Here we have USA. Okay, now this lower seat arts up here. Okay, upper seat arts. Now we need to configure lower seat science and upper seat science. I'm really sorry that it's taking so long. I'm just trying to get accurate, to get how would I put it, like data that looks that mimics kind of a typical school environment. Here I'm going to have upper seat science. Okay. I have USS. I think I have not configured lower seat science. So we have lower seat science left to be configured. So now I'm going to enter lower seat science. So I click here. So I click here. I select science too. I select science, and as main class I select lower seat, and here I enter. Lower seat science, LSS, and that's it. That's the last class. Now we have done the full configuration for the first cycle and the second cycle of GBHS Moliko Boya. We've configured all the classes of the Anglophone subsystem successfully. Now we have to configure the classes for the General Franco subsection. Here we select General, and in this case we have main classes from 6e to 3e, and then when you come to Série CD, this is like the high school. For the purpose of the exercise, I'll be limiting our classes to the English section only. So now that we've successfully configured all the classes, the next thing we need to do is to configure subjects. Like I said, we are going to follow the chronology of the elements in our subnav. So the next thing I do is I come to subject groups, and by simply clicking on subject groups, I click here on subject groups. Now you will be asking yourself, what is a subject group? I believe that doing this exercise with the IT pilot, that question is going to be answered, because in a typical public secondary school student report card, we notice that subjects are classified in groups. Usually we have like composite subjects that can be a subject group, maybe for maths, English and French. We have science subjects, we have arts subjects, we have related subjects in the case of technical schools, we have other subjects, and so on. So here the typical use case will be to get a student's report sheet from GBHS Moliko Boya, and then you look at the classification of subjects on the student's record, on the student's report card. Here you have the different groups. You come now, we are configuring the subject groups for the Anglophone subsection. Here we enter the first group. We can call it, for example, compulsory subjects. Compulsory subjects, right? We simply hit save. And the next subject group we are creating will be science subjects. I would also like to remind that this information can be edited at any point in time by simply clicking on the edit action button on the right hand side of the table. Here you can edit the name of the subject group. So here we'll be selecting Anglophone General again, and now we are entering science subjects. Science subjects. We hit save. I think the next subject group we are registering now is arts subjects. Here we hit save. And I think that we are probably good to go. Okay, we need to erase another subject group that is called others, just in case. But given that this exercise will be conducted with the guardians, or in close collaboration with the IT pilots of GBHS Moliko Boya, the data that we're getting for subject group is going to be accurate as per the typical result sheet of a student of GBHS Moliko Boya. So we're just waiting for the record of add subjects to save. It's like we're having some network issues. Okay, so like I said, we enter a last subject group that is called others, and we are done configuring subject groups. Now in the case of a technical school, here we have subject groups like professional subjects, related subjects, other subjects, compulsory, and many more. It depends on the school. This data, like this data should be gotten from the student's report card. So now we're just waiting for the last record of subject groups to save. Then we move to the next phase, which is configuring subjects. Now this is a very important aspect of the system. Now remember that since we began the exercise, we're only doing configurations. That's we're trying to represent the actual physical school environment on this digital platform, so that the platform is able to present what's really going on school campus to its users. The data that is collected on the system is repartitioned across the different levels on Minesec. So now we have to move to configuring subjects. Apparently we're facing some connection issues, so I'm just going to be patient and patient and patient. This is taking forever, man. It's taking forever. Okay, I don't think I'm going to wait for that to load completely. I'll just open this in a new tab so we can work from here. Okay, I'll just open this in a new tab and see where we get. I'm really sorry guys, I'm facing bad network issues. Connection has not been really stable these past days actually. Okay.